Welcome to the Seraphine podcast. I am Seraphine Arocha, and I'm here with Chelsea Atia.
Hi.
And we are finally at the finish line.
Yes, we are here.
Oh,
4 parts. We're at the fourth part of the reunion.
Oh my God, this
season
has felt like a marathon.
I was thinking about, I think I said this the last episode, like from the episode 1 to the now we're at the end of it. I feel like it's been 3 or 4 seasons already.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
And
so
seriously, and and sorry to interrupt. I was thinking to myself, it was like watching like paint dry.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we really didn't have anything happen. If we really go down to the brass tacks of this season.
Yeah, it's all speculation on Eric. We're all speculating on whether Erica knew or not. That's the premise of this entire well, I guess really the second half of the season. The first half was all about the ugly leather pants.
Yep.
And then
seriously. And how appropriate that this was filmed during COVID.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was in COVID all over again. It was like, I'm not getting out of this episode because it keeps recycling. It was literally like the groundhog was like, we're going to have the longest motherfucking winter ever. This was the longest season ever. But let's conclude it. Let's put the bow on it the best way we can.
Let's do it.
So I don't like it when they give you the first 5 or 10 minutes and basically just show the third episode. They basically showed the same scene.
They really did.
I was like, do we really need to regurgitate this
know.
for 10 minutes to fill the time? But we had to get the whole Erica and snapping at poor Crystal.
I know. She just was simply, she wasn't even saying anything that terrible. She didn't accuse her of anything. She asked her a simple question, and then Erica bit her head off, and it's like, all right, that was unnecessary. And then Crystal was quiet the rest of the show. I felt so bad for her. But I really like her too.
But I loved when they were doing that final round of questions for Erica. So Andy asked the women, anything more you want to ask Erica? And Crystal was the one that's like, no, thanks, I'm done.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel you. That's how I feel about this whole season.
I think she is like the embodiment of the entire viewership right now.
Yeah.
We're all like, we don't have any more questions. We don't
Oh my God. And so let's talk about a few things here. My favorite thing to address in all of this is Go Garcelle and Sutton for not letting Erica off the hook, especially about her stupid threats. I mean, she even went there in this episode calling Sutton the C word.
It was so uncalled for. She made herself look terrible. Also, her lame excuse for what she meant by saying "don't come for me," she definitely meant that, and I was glad Andy said this. Like, that's really not how you made it seem. She said basically that what she meant by saying I'm coming for you, like when you're in this position, because everyone is the villain of a season. Everyone has their moment as being the villain for a season, and she was trying to say that what she meant by that was when Sutton is
when it's
the
her
villain,
turn,
she's not going to be there. That is not what you meant.
No, not at all.
So Sutton hiring security and Erica rolling her eyes. I'm like, I would do the same thing. I mean, who knows what you're capable of at this point? You have nothing to lose.
100%. I mean, it gets to a point to where I feel like Erica has been talking in circles about so many different things.
Yeah.
And she claims that she's answering the question, but she's not answering the direct questions. I mean, the first one was, where was her anger about the victims? Not about, is she angry enough? We get it. She's a pissed off person 24/7.
Because she can't have her $40,000 a month glam squad.
Totally.
Did we ever mention anything about the victims this whole entire season? No.
And where's her anger at Tom? Where's her anger at being put in this situation? And she's like, am I angry enough about what? And then she starts crying. And I'm like, okay, again, you're now deflecting back to yourself.
You're
always
playing the victim. Yep.
And I'm like, dude,
you're not the victim here.
How about you get fired up and go, you know what? I looked into these things, these poor families. Like, she never once even said those words, and it drives me nuts. And then the other question, she completely didn't talk. She didn't answer. Was where the money is. All she said to Andy was, "Well, my lawyer reached out to you to say that I didn't get it. Didn't get the $20 million deposited in my account. But that's not being reported." I'm like, well, then where is it? Because if it's not in your account, then you should probably have an idea. Your lawyer at least can tell you, hey, it's not here. It's most likely here or here.
The whole I don't know anything act is so unbelievable.
Yep.
Like, you gotta, if you're gonna play this, if you're gonna try to get off the hook, I get it. You're in freak out, fight or flight mode. But you gotta have some inclination of something. You gotta own up to something. Give us a little something, because just saying that you don't know where anything is or you didn't know anything happening is totally unbelievable to me.
No. And then the other question that I thought was so telling was when they asked about the snowing in Pasadena.
And she said, I'm not even going to go there.
I'm like,
why?
That's like part of your 6-part lie about when he rolled the car and had dementia. And then he was there, he was unconscious for 9 hours, but it was 12 hours before. And I mean,
wasn't it her son it was snowing when okay, can we just Crystal said the last time it snowed in Pasadena was 20 years ago. It does not snow in LA.
No, it does not. And again,
definitely if it did sprinkle a little bit of snow, it wouldn't cause anyone to get
roll their car. How many times? 6 times?
Yeah.
Was it? It was Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all of that.
Dukes of Hazzard.
I mean, come on. I'm going to save Tom. I'm like, okay, I know she's got G.I. Joe policeman for a son, but it just, at the end of the day, I guess where I am at with her is that I'm done with her talking about, I'm done speculating. I'm just you did a deep dive this weekend trying to find fact from fiction.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, until it plays out in court.
Exactly. That's what it is. All it is her claims at this point, and people speculating.
Yeah. And we're waxing poetic about what we think could possibly happen.
But no one's buying anything she's saying. I mean, there's several things that were okay, I could see how that would be plausible. I could see this, I could see that. But the big things where's the money? You gotta, give us something there.
I feel like this was an interesting exploration, though, into holding someone accountable. Because what I did like was when Robbie from Redondo asked Lisa, I don't get it. You with Yolanda, Denise, Kim, Lisa, you're saying you're pounding into them. Be honest. Tell me. You're trying
with
to hold
things that are really not a big deal, and exposing personal health issues, whether that's addiction or Lyme disease or whatever it may be. Those things
they don't apply to her.
They're none of your business anyways.
But she will hold the fort for frickin' Erica with something that, frankly, to me, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is what you're choosing to be like, I'm going to stand by her. I'm like, I mean, come on.
There is a motive behind this.
Yes,
and we've
because financially,
we've speculated that as well. So there is a motive. Yeah. And it's weird to me that
financially, Rinna and Erica have had an exchange. Erica invested in Rinna's lipstick business. I don't know what else. I mean, that's all I've read for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's speculation on some other things too. And at the end of the day, what was really the cringe moment for me with Lisa were actually 2. I didn't like when she was talking about, if you care about Erica, right? If you care about Erica, she was like, I'm going to push them to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. I'm going to push them to tell the truth. I'm like, no, that's a little two-faced. That's definitely stirring the pot. If you really were protecting her, you wouldn't be involved. You wouldn't have gotten into the little hoopla there.
She was totally involved at the beginning when she was loving, she loves drama. Rinna loves the drama.
She loves it. And then the other thing that was so cringy was her apology
about, my gosh.
I regret it. I'm the one who have to live live with myself and I'm haunted by
That's
my
all
actions.
she could say, because at that point, after they had played like the past scenes from her with the Munchausen and saying that Kim is close to death, and Kim was right in calling her out. But anyways, that's beside the fact. But what else could she say? She has no excuse.
No. And then I love how they tried to drag Lisa Vanderpump back in with Lucy, Apple Juicy, the dog. I'm like, how is this even on the same scale of scandal? And at the end of the day, what blows my mind is that they tried to act like, well, like, again, Erica's like, well, at least I showed up.
Exactly.
I'm like, well,
what else could you do? Like, you had to.
You absolutely had to. I mean, the fact that they're comparing a dog being returned to Vanderpump dogs blows my mind. That has, like, even putting in the same category.
They just wanted to, like, bring Lisa Vanderpump in it and make it seem like, well, like, at this point, they're trying to say that Lisa wasn't, she was more cowardly than
that she didn't own up to her mistakes. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
I miss LVP.
I do. I want her back.
Yeah.
I want her back. I also thought that when Andy did the whole, like, what did you learn from this season? And, you know, what did you learn about yourself? And she's like, I'm a good friend. I'm like, are you though?
Yeah.
Like, she seems like she's a good friend when it suits her, Lisa Rinna.
100%.
But she's delusional if she thinks that she's some great friend, because I can tell you,
with
Yolanda, Denise, Kim,
No.
Lisa, even some of the women who were sitting on the couches could probably be like, are you the best friend out of the group? Are you the most loyal?
Yeah.
Could be debated.
She's using her loyalty to Erica as, like, this is what loyalty looks like. There is a motive behind this. This isn't just that this is your girlfriend and you're standing beside her. You have a motive.
Yeah. It stinks because, I love all these women. I don't want to rip them apart, but I also am like, I just had to call that out because that was just, it just was a cringe moment. And I like Lisa, but I
love Lisa Rinna. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous and she's funny, but that was not a cute look. But I don't think this season Erica shined a great light on herself, obviously.
No. Not at all.
A lot of people had some bad moments, but what I'm hoping for next season, I'm just hoping for some more fun. Me
too.
I think all the ladies are coming back.
And I want less, like, it felt like there was a lot of filler and there was a lot of talking about things that no one really knew about.
Yeah. What I am hoping for next year, like what I'm hoping not for, is I don't really want this to be this Erica situation to be the whole baseline for the show. Yeah. That's going to get boring for people. Like, okay, give us something new.
I agree with you. I want, and I'd like to see more like creativity, more women that can inspire and to make me feel proud to be a woman. Mm-hmm. For me to want to be a businesswoman or to be like, what disappointed me about the whole Erica Jane situation is that, you know, she was on this platform where she was trying to be empowered. Number one, she was showing a woman that was older in her 40s that was literally like owning her life. Yeah. So we thought. And she was somebody who championed, like, basically sticking up for yourself, being who you are, and like, you know, I'm gonna be this girl no matter what. And then what ended up happening is we found out all of the things that were these pillars of her Erica Jane completely. Mm-hmm. Her marriage was not strong. She didn't have a supportive husband. Her insecurities with her own self. I mean, just even sitting there and watching her with her glam squad, I'm like, I'd like to see some housewives without their makeup on, hanging out with their daughters and you know, not reliving their superficial parts of their life. Like, it's cool to see daughters and mothers play dress up, but I would love to see Lisa Rinna, you know, with her daughters doing something besides fashion and Instagram, because you know that they're good business women. Yeah. I mean, you know they are, but they show the stuff that to me either pits us against each other as women and it doesn't create a narrative that, to me, empowerment. At the end of this season, I was just disappointed in all the friendships, and I felt with Erica, I felt sorry for her.
Oh yeah.
And that sucks. I don't want to feel pity for somebody who actually has so much more than so many people.
You know who I think has a lot of potential?
Who?
I think Crystal has a lot of potential. I want to see way more of her next season. I think she has a lot of layers, and I think that she is I love that she is an Asian woman in this series or in this franchise, and I want to see her business side, how her mind works. I think she has a lot of potential. I think Garcelle has a lot of potential, and I am excited for Sutton. I want her to show a different side of herself too.
I think Sutton.
I think she got a good fan base after what happened this season.
Yeah.
I think people at the beginning, she was a little ridiculous with Crystal, but I like their friendship. I think that's genuine,
and it evolved.
Yeah,
you saw growth, which to me, I'm like, if we're gonna sit here and we're gonna watch women who have the keys to the castle, they have money, they have looks, they have notoriety, they have businesses. If we're gonna watch women, in these situations and fall on their face, I want to start watching women who fall on their face and learn from it.
Exactly.
And become better people. Not worse people, not cowardice, not bitchy blaming people. I want to see
accountability.
Accountability, yeah.
Totally. That's the whole, life is about lessons, and
Yes.
you do make mistakes. And if the strongest people pick themselves back up and they use that mistake as a lesson to get better, to grow, to become a better person. And I think that's exactly what both Crystal and Sutton did.
Yeah. I hope Bravo too starts to understand that culturally we need to see an evolution story. I don't need to see the same season again. I don't need every season to have someone have a financial trouble.
Totally.
And, either go to jail or get a divorce. I'd like another storyline to come up for women.
Speaking of.
Yes.
Real Housewives of Dubai.
Oh, wow. Yes,
That's
I read that.
That's the newest franchise city. And I'm so excited to see a totally different culture.
Yes.
A totally different set of women. I think there's a few celebrities in Dubai that I feel like could be really good. One of them is Huda from Huda Beauty.
Oh, I love her.
Awesome. She's
amazing.
Very successful I don't know if she's self-made, but a woman-owned business, Huda Beauty. She would be awesome. There's a few, but those women there have money.
They do. They have money, and they also have had culturally things against them. So it's very cool to see women who may have to wear a hijab, be like, you know what, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to do the best with what cards were dealt with me. But again, we're talking also about privileged women.
Totally.
And I think it's so important that if we are going to tell these stories, that the people who are on these shows at least make the attempt of using their privilege for something for better, for good, for creating a new generation of daughters that aren't women in a house complaining that their glam squad didn't come.
Totally agree.
It's fun to watch, but want some other stuff. Meat and potatoes, girl, you know? Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching with us this season. It'll be very interesting to see what we decide to do going forward.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time and hours clocking and watching this. And I think what Chelsea and I really came to the conclusion of, at least I did, I won't speak for you, but I like it. It's entertaining. Unfortunately, I want to talk either. If I'm not going to talk about things that matter, I at least want to talk about emotions and instances that are fun and celebratory. It's fun to rip people apart and talk about them in terms of well, I'm a better person, but it doesn't last long, that feeling, that because at the end of the day, it doesn't, it doesn't feel that great. So I don't know. I will always be a fan of the Housewife franchise for potato chip watching. But I really hope that we move forward with our viewing and how we're represented as women.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I share those same sentiments.
Yes. I love you. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like, subscribe button. And if you have any thoughts, please share them with us because, wow, it's been an interesting ride.
It has. And we've come to a close.
We have. See you later. Bye-bye.